Welcome back to another video in this Voiceflow web chat UI kit series. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to set up a live agent handoff. So you can see in this design that I have right here, we have our talk to agent intent set up, and that just points you into this little text step, transferring you to an agent now. Then we hit our custom action with the type talk to agent, and then we're just waiting for this continue path in order to continue, and you see we've hit stop on action. So the idea here is that we get to this point in the conversation, we've now handed off to the live agent conversation will continue, and then there's an opportunity to basically transfer back to the Voiceflow runtime and continue talking to the bot, basically. There we go. And in continue conversation here, we can just see that we have a little blurb, thanks for choosing Voiceflow, and then we're listening for an intent again to kind of reintroduce you back into the flow talking with the bot. All right, excellent. So now let's see how our conversation, our little React Chat demo needs to change in order to support that. So the first thing is we're going to be adding a new trace handler to our runtime hook. So as a reminder, this use runtime hook is basically what handles the entire state and integration with the Voiceflow runtime APIs so that you don't need to handle that yourself. So by introducing a new trace here, this is basically going to capture that incoming custom action that we were just setting up over here, our talk to agent custom action, and it will allow us to do something. In this case, we're going to be calling this callback, which we'll get to in a second. So let's just enable this and we'll see what that talk to agent trace does. So super simple, just looks for the talk to agent type, and then it is going to call this handoff function that we pass into it. So what is that handoff function going to actually do? Well, that's going to use our live agent here provided by our use live agent hook. So let's take a look at that now. So this is basically a simplified API for interacting with a live agent. It does not actually connect to a live agent, but it emulates the connection to a live agent. And there's a couple of key places where if you were to actually implement this, you would replace this with calls to your own APIs or to whatever you are integrating with. So the couple of methods that are important in here are first talk to agent. So this is what you want to call if you want to switch from talking to the Voiceflow runtime to talking to the live agent. Very simply, it's just setting this enabled state to true for the live agent hook, which is then returned so we can do some state based off of it. Change some UI based off of it. And then the other piece here is this schedule system reply. So this is basically going to, after 2 seconds, enter this system reply as if it had been sent by the runtime. So this is going to be the first message essentially coming from our live agent. So in talk to agent here, this is where you would kick off the initialization of your live agent service, or connecting you to the live agent, that kind of part of the user experience. The other side here we have talk to robot. So this is if you want to switch back to talking to the Voiceflow runtime. So we're going to just set enable to false, add a system reply immediately, which is just going to tell you that you're returning to the Voiceflow bot and you're no longer talking to a live agent. And then you're going to hit this runtime interact call, which is going to be of the type continue. So this is basically going to satisfy this case here for a continue path and tell the conversation on Voiceflow that this custom action is done executing, and then it can continue with the conversation. The other couple of functions in here, we have add system reply. So this is going to add to our session, basically, the session state, which is local. It does not get sent to the Voiceflow runtime APIs. We're going to add a new turn, which is basically the encapsulation of one side saying something. So in this case, the system is going to say something back to the user. It's going to be this text message, and we're filling in some information about an ID and timestamp, essentially. So this is for allowing us to basically send a message as the live agent and have it appear in the chat dialog as if it was coming from the system in this case. There's also send user reply, which is going to add a turn for the user, which is going to contain their message. So when the user enters something into the chat input, presses enter, we're going to capture that as a turn from their side. Again, does not get sent off to the Voiceflow APIs. We're just adding it to the state so that it appears in the chat dialog. And then we're going to schedule a system reply. So just after 2 seconds, we're going to reply with this canned response. It's always going to be the same thing, but in reality, this is where you would now instead of scheduling a system reply, send off the user's message to your live agent, await a response from the live agent, and then have that response be added using this add turn method so that it appears in the chat dialog. And then schedule system reply just calls add system reply, but with a 2-second delay to emulate basically a user typing something back, an actual live agent typing something back to you. Great, so we have the state, we have some methods to call. So when our trace gets hit, we're calling that talk to agent, which is going to switch us over to the live agent. We then need to actually capture the user's message when they're talking to the live agent and handle it differently. So in this handle send method, which we're passing into the on send prop for our chat component, this is going to be where when the user enters a message, we do something with it. So by default, we would be sending it to the Voiceflow runtime, but now we want to check and see if our live agent is enabled and instead send it off to the live agent. The last thing we're going to add here is a super simple indicator just so that you understand that you are talking to a live agent. So we just have some text indicating you're talking to a live agent with a prompt to switch you back to talking to the Voiceflow runtime. And we're now adding that just at the top of the chat dialog. So there we go. With all of that, if I head back over to my demo, open that up. Let's say I want to talk to a human. All right, there we go. I have the indicator that I'm talking to a live agent. We have this transferring you to an agent now, which is coming from my Voiceflow conversation. Then we have this first scheduled response. I'm a real person. How can I help you? I need assistance. All right, and then we're getting our canned response after 2 seconds. I'm a real person. I understand you and empathize with your plight. Let's just say thanks. And we get a response back again. And then let's just switch back to our conversation by hitting this button here. So we're going to switch back to talking to our Voiceflow robot. So we click here, returning you to the Voiceflow bot, and then we get that response from within our continue conversation here that says, thanks for choosing Voiceflow. What else can I help you with? And we can continue with our conversation. I want to book an appointment. Great. And then we're already into that other flow again. And that's it. That's how you do live agent handoff.